I'm gonna draw your mom.
Welcome to the motherfucking lady. We're covering today's top boxing news.
So, word round the campfire, this past weekend, Claressa Shields, at what was the Gina Carano versus Ronda Rousey fight, laid a hand on Alicia Baumgardner after mincing words, saying, "I'm gonna continue giving bitches hell respectfully. That little ass girl said, I'll beat your ass right now, after already disrespecting me. Now you're classy and playing the victim. You can't go around threatening people. Take that hand and try to get your lick back." These are just my thoughts. So this is supposed to be the female equivalent of when Caleb Plant slapped Jermall Charlo at what was the Crawford versus Spence fight in the parking lot. The female version. Except we all know that Caleb Plant is no antagonist. He only defends himself when he means to, whereas Claressa is very much the antagonist. What was she even doing there? That was the first question that came to my mind when I saw the video. What was Claressa even doing there? What was she doing at an MVP show when she regularly takes shots at MVP and its co-founder Jake Paul? She spent the better portion of the last 5 or 6 years taking shots at him. What was she doing at his show? It's not a boxing match. It's not like you're friends with Jake or you're on good terms with MVP, so what was she even doing there? Because in doing so, she brings the decorum down. Brings the mood down. What was she doing there? It's not a boxing match, it's an MMA show. It's not like you're there to support any of your friends. Don't you notice that whenever things start to get quiet for Claressa, some controversy strikes, something ensues? Especially when one of her female contemporaries is starting to get attention. Something always manages to happen that shifts the focus over to Claressa. I would go as far as saying that this is deliberate, this is by design. What was she even doing there? She's not friends with anybody that's over there. I remember her taking a shot at the entire MVP stable, which begs the question, if you feel that way about them, why are you going out of your way to be at their show, to attend their events when you're not on good terms with anybody over there? I don't care about her version of the story. What she says happens. As far as I'm concerned, this is Claressa once again trying to monopolize all the attention. This past weekend, Alicia Baumgardner appeared on a stream with one of those popular streamers. I don't know the guy's name, I just know that he's popular, and streaming is all the rage right now, so I don't think it's a coincidence that at a time where Alicia Baumgardner was getting a lot of attention, this happens. Claressa wanted to steal her thunder. Because that's what she always does. That's what she's been doing for years. Whenever one of these other girls is getting attention, for whatever reason, something happens to shift the focus over to her. Oh, I understand that her and Alicia Baumgardner are not on good terms. They don't get along anyway, but that's what begs the question, then what were you doing over there? What are you there for? Or what kind of an infantile audience would go for this? I'm not at all impressed that a woman as big as Claressa Shields is throwing her weight around. Maybe this goes over better with a younger audience because, for me, she just looks like ghetto trash. Claressa! There is every possibility that when Claressa Shields is around, it will devolve into ratchet behavior, ratchetry, like when her younger brother struck James Ali Bashir in the back of the head, snuck an old man when he wasn't looking. That's the stock that she comes from. Ghetto garbage. There is no nice way for me to say that, and I'm not trying to be nice. What about the melee that ensued at the ceremonial weigh-in for what was the Franchon Cruz fight? According to Franchon, it was everybody on Claressa's side that antagonized that situation, almost deliberately, so they would have something to film. Some content to upload. There is every possibility that when Claressa is around, it's gonna devolve into ghetto garbage behavior. Ratchet behavior. Claressa! And only other ratchets are gonna find this shit cute or amusing. Look at Claressa, she's so big and bad. What she is threatened by Alicia Baumgardner's natural charisma and beauty. Let's not kid ourselves. There is a pretty girl, ugly girl dynamic here.
Claressa.
Skip the pleasantries, because you're not going to convince me that Claressa Shields is in any way, shape, or form as attractive and charismatic as Alicia Baumgardner. She's just not. And underneath it all, she knows that, and she's threatened by it. Did you ever wonder, why are they beefing in the first place?
It's because Claressa was regularly saying that she's gonna come down to 147 and fight the girls that are there. At which point, Alicia Baumgardner said she'd be willing to meet her at that weight, and she would fight her. For whatever reason, Claressa didn't like that, took it up the ass.
And they haven't been on good terms ever since. But coincidentally, Michaela Mayer did the same thing. When Claressa Shields has been saying that she's gonna come back down, Michaela said she'd be willing to meet her. She'd be willing to fight her.
And they're not on bad terms over it. Claressa Shields didn't treat the situation with Michaela like she treats the situation with Alicia, even though it's the same situation. And you know why that is?
It's because she's jealous of Alicia. She's jealous of her charisma, the way that people look at her, her natural beauty, her sex appeal.
Claressa doesn't have it, and she knows she doesn't have it, try as she might.
Let's not beat around the bush. Claressa Shields has a complex. It's a complex that exists in her mind.
She's got an axe to grind with every high yellow honey, every red bone,
every peanut butter broad with a booty. I remember in one of her live streams, she was going in on light-skinned women,
claiming that they're the ones hating on her, when it looks to me like she's the one hating on them, and the reason for it is because she's jealous. She feels less attractive than those kinds of women, less attractive than an Alicia Baumgardner, so she's threatened by her.
That's why she got mad at Alicia when she said she'd be willing to meet her in the middle, where she didn't get mad at Michaela. She doesn't compare herself to a woman like Michaela.
It's a white woman. They got different features.
But she does get mad when it's Alicia, because she's jealous of Alicia. Alicia has a prettier face, a prettier body, a prettier everything.
Where Claressa comes off as a try-hard, trying so hard, so desperately, to break into the hip-hop space only to become a laughingstock when she gets there. So when I see this situation, I just see more of Claressa's complex coming out, not dissimilar from what you see in any grade school sandbox.
High school hallway, the ugly girl is jealous of the pretty girl. Of course, in Claressa's version of the story, she's the victim, but how many times have we seen this play out to where she antagonizes a situation?
Whether it's Jake Paul, or Keith Thurman,
or Cameron Giles, or somebody else, she starts something, then when they respond, she makes herself out to be the victim. Oh, I was only reacting to what Alicia said.
Bullshit.
In all likelihood, this all starts with Claressa. In all likelihood, she's the one antagonized the situation, and you see the same simps.
Only ratchets go for her behavior. I saw a Twitter account that goes by the name How Boxing Works say, now all of a sudden y'all are mad at Shields, but y'all praised Caleb Plant for smacking the dog shit out of Charlo.
Well, Caleb Plant doesn't have a reputation for starting shit with people. Claressa does.
This is combat sports. Talk shit, and you might get hit.
Well, who talks more shit than Claressa? The only people that go for this are other ratchets, ghetto gaggers. Conversation isn't even worth having if you can't be honest about what's really going on here, and what's really going on is there are people out there who regularly take up for Claressa for no other reason than she's the darker girl.
What?
That may sound stupid to me and you, but that's what it is, and that's the only reason they constantly defend her ratchet behavior, because she is the common denominator. These kinds of situations that span years, whether it was the melee at the Ivana Habazin fight, the more recent melee at the Franchon Cruz rematch, or this.
Some of these guys and some of these gals that are constantly defending Claressa's behavior when it's very obvious she's the one starts this shit. They're only doing that because she's the darker one.
Okay, but how does being the darker one make her innocent?
It doesn't. But in their own mind's eye, that gives Claressa and them a pass to do whatever they wish, whatever they want.
The ones defending her, because not everybody defends Claressa Shields. In fact, there's a growing number of people that don't like Claressa.
I don't. Just looking at this situation, it just seems like more of the same from Claressa.
And I'm not impressed. Elsewhere in the world of boxing, Ryan Garcia claims Conor-Benn fight will fall on the same day as Canelo Alvarez's ring return. The newly crowned WBC welterweight champion dropped the bombshell during a recent live stream with rapper Tekashi69,
which we talked about in a previous video over the weekend.
Now the question is, with two very big shows happening on the same day, is one going to end up cannibalizing the other? Is it wise to do Canelo versus Mbilli and Garcia versus Benn on the same day.
Well, that depends. Are they happening at the same time?
My next fight is September 12th, said Garcia. I can't announce it yet, but there are some people from the UK that need an ass whooping. The guy I might fight next is from the UK, Garcia added, before letting Benn's name slip after 69 promised to walk him out. It's gonna be in Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. You hear that, Connor Bum? My guy is gonna walk me out. Go get a goofy from England to walk you out.
I've long maintained ever since this fight became a talking point that it makes too much sense for Ryan and too much sense for Golden Boy not to do it. To catch Conor Benn on his way down, on his way back to welterweight, where he hasn't fought in something like 3 or 4 years, getting down there, he's gonna be easy pickings for Ryan Garcia.
So that Oscar should not let the ongoing rift between him and Dana White and Zuffa Boxing get in the way of a major opportunity for his fighter, because as we all know, Conor just signed to Zuffa.
Don't let that be the reason that Ryan doesn't fight him, because it's a major opportunity for Ryan to make a lot of money, to fight in a big show, and a major opportunity for you to stick it to Dana White and his recent signee. Of course, there is the potential issue of Garcia versus Benn clashing with Canelo's fight, as it's no secret that Garcia and Benn have been locked in negotiations. King Rai even declared last month that his WBC mandatory defense has been finalized. The only issue is that the date Garcia insists he will be fighting Benn is the same day Canelo challenges Christian Mbilli for the WBC super middleweight title. Canelo and Mbilli are set to square off in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, meaning the timings are unlikely to directly clash with Garcia versus Benn in Vegas.
Then what's the issue?
And it would be ill-advised to go up against Canelo on Mexican Independence Day weekend. Canelo has made the date his own, and any event scheduled for September 12th risks being swallowed up, particularly one targeted in the U.S. market, unless both fights are happening the same day, but at different times.
Consider that both fights are rumored to be happening on the same platform. Both fights are rumored to be happening on Netflix, and I don't think Netflix wants to divide their own audience. What they want to do is get them there and keep them there. So what if Canelo's fight is happening on a Saudi time zone that accommodates a UK audience,
which would be in the afternoon here in the United States,
servicing as a lead-in to the Garcia versus Benn show happening that same night? Or what if it's the other way around? What if Garcia versus Benn happens first and Canelo versus Mbilli happens afterwards? You can work that situation to where the two cards aren't actually going head-to-head by happening the same day.
If this all rings true, as Ryan Garcia does have a habit of announcing fights before they're over the line. We saw this in April when he claimed he was boxing Teofimo Lopez on July 25th. Naturally, Garcia's words should therefore be taken with a pinch of salt. Conor Benn's manager, Keith Connolly, confirmed last week that there were still some details to be ironed out, providing an update on discussions between Garcia and his client. Connolly told Boxing News, "We're in the middle of negotiating Garcia versus Benn, along with some other big fights. I could see it happening, and I could see it falling apart. But we're targeting that fight right now. I think that's a great fight for both guys. It'll be a massive fight if it's over here in the UK, and it'll be a massive fight if it's in Las Vegas. It's a sellout wherever it goes. I think we'll know in the next couple of weeks where we're headed, but that's definitely the fight that we want."
The wheels have already been in motion to make this fight a reality for many months now. Why do you think that Conor Benn is currently ranked at number 1 via the World Boxing Council, even though he hasn't fought as a welterweight in 3-4 years?
His last 2 fights have both been at middleweight.
Thus, gaining a number 1 ranking in the welterweight division where he hasn't fought in about 4 years doesn't happen by accident. It's by design. That's the World Boxing Council clearing the way for Conor Benn to return and allowing them to cash in on what is his fight with Ryan.
Because they make more money letting Conor fight for that belt than letting somebody else do it.
It's another glaring example of how the existing framework is far from perfect, and it alienates fighters all by itself without Zuffa Boxing and without the Ali Revival Act. But these would-be activists who care so much about the fighters don't want to talk about that.
Clutching at their pearls over whatever Dana White is doing, when isn't this a lot worse? How many fighters do you have to alienate over what duration of time to give Conor Benn a top spot in your rankings when he hasn't even been fighting at that weight?
More to the point, Behind the scenes, the wheels have been in motion for some time now to make Garcia versus Benn a reality.
It's a big fight in the UK like it's a big fight in Vegas. And if it's a big fight with big purses, of course, the World Boxing Council wants in.
Not even being a fan of Ryan Garcia, I do favor him to win the fight if for no other reason than moving to welterweight for him has been a breath of fresh air, not having to squeeze into 135 or 140. For Ryan, he's right at home at 147, whereas Conor,
He's gonna be bone dry.
we're already seeing the effects. We just saw them in the Prograis fight, where Conor Benn did not look as explosive, did not look as concussive. His power, it didn't really seem to be there.
That's only gonna get worse the lower he goes.
When Conor Benn first endeavored to move up from welter up to middle for what eventually became the two Chris Eubank Jr. fights, I said it then, I said it more than 2 years ago. Careful that you're not sacrificing too much to fight Chris Eubank Jr. because once you go up, you're not going to be able to stay there. Conor Benn doesn't have a middleweight frame. He clearly can't campaign as one moving forward, but in moving up there, he painted himself into a corner because now getting back down to 147, it's not easy. You're not going to be the same fighter that you were years ago.
And Conor Benn has never been a tactician, a technician. He's never been a boxer's boxer. At the very most, he's a hard punching guy and an explosive guy, but he's no strategist. Opposite the ring, Ryan Garcia, who I anticipate is going to be a little taller, a little longer.
Fresher, because he's not emaciated in making welterweight. He's going to be the explosive one. He's going to be the sharp one. He's going to be able to walk Conor Benn into punches. The left hook in particular, which is Ryan's signature punch. You remember what he did years ago to Francisco Fonseca, baiting him in.
Baiting him to throw behind the high guard so he can counter what he throws, then landing a sharp left hook that put him down, put him out. That's what I think he's going to do to Conor. I don't think this fight goes the distance.
I think Ryan Garcia stops Conor Benn is what I think, and that will be Golden Boy and Oscar sticking it to Dana and Zuffa because they have to come together for this to happen.
There's no other way it can.
Though I don't think it'll be on DAZN, and I don't think it'll be on Paramount either. Rumor has it that this fight is going to land on Netflix. Alongside it, Canelo versus Mbilli. So what we might be looking at is a full day of boxing on the Netflix platform.
Not too shabby.
It's not bad at all when you consider that these major events on Netflix come at no additional charge to existing subscribers. And if one card is happening before the other, servicing as a lead-in for the other, then they're not going to cannibalize each other.
Netflix would be fully capitalizing on Mexican Independence Day weekend by putting on two major boxing matches on their platform. Two major cards, which is smart on their part if that's how it breaks down. And I think that it's going to.
And I think that Ryan Garcia is set to make that announcement, make it official, later on tonight on the Jimmy Fallon Show, where he's set to be making an appearance.
That's what I think is going to happen.